To start this video, just first let me say Brad Holmes is good at his job, and he's good at his job for a myriad of reasons. But one of them is his ability to really just say it how it is and to find guys that are going to fit the culture. But also, one of the reasons he's good at his job is because he just genuinely cares. And he was doing an interview recently and he talked about it. And Danny Rogers was talking about like this rookie class, and she was talking about how much impact they had down the stretch. And he responded by just talking about how amazed he was at how this rookie class competed. He said, "It is remarkable when you look at the speed of the game. It is so much different than college." And hey, if you're watching this video and you're wondering, is it really? It really is. Think about it. In the NFL, speed looks about equal. Rarely do you see guys on the field that just look flat out faster than everybody else. Okay, Tyreek Hill looks flat out faster than everyone else. Jameson Williams a couple of times had that speed. We saw that on our own team. But for the most part, the speed of the game, people aren't thinking, they're just doing because they've been playing football for so long. It's the most elite athletes and fastest athletes in the world. The speed of the moment, of the speed of it is different. But in that, she also asked, because he said, and this is what Brad Holmes said. He said, sometimes when you watch these guys out there and you see them in practice and you see them in the game, you almost get that like proud papa moment, that proud dad moment is kind of what he said. And so, being a good interview, she asked him, well, what was your proud dad moments? And he talked about two specifically. He talked about watching Kirby Joseph get that first interception. It took him a little while to crack the lineup, right? And an injury helped him get in there. And we found out pretty quick he was going to be a ball hawk. And Brad Holmes even talked about that. He's like, this is what we brought him in here to do, to be a ball hawk. And he remembers that first interception and how pumped he was. But he said what might have been his proudest moment was watching James Houston get his sack against the Buffalo Bills on Thanksgiving Day. He finally gets in the lineup. He finally gets on the team and immediately responds by giving a sack. And he talked about just who he is, the hard work that he put in, the journey that he had to take to get there, to be drafted, but then to be cut, to be put on the practice squad. And then they said that they were ready to get him in. They just knew they had to put him into the right situation. And he talked about how there was a lot of injuries on the defensive line. And I know what you're thinking. Same thing I was thinking. At first, I was confused when I was hearing him talking. What do you mean there was a lot of yeah, there was injuries on the defensive line. Why didn't he play sooner? Well, because he's such a situational player when they wanted to get him on the field. It was legitimately just third down, rush the passer. And when there was a lot of injuries, it didn't give the opportunity for him to just be on the roster and just be situational. He would have had to give a lot more. So when they finally got him in there, he just straight erupted. And he said they never had a doubt that he could perform. They just couldn't find that sweet spot for him. So I just thought that was really cool, and one of the things that makes this organization special. And I talked about it in the last video when I talked about how Brad Holmes got emotional after two players thanked him. And if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. But it's that just raw emotion of the thing where it's just like, that's awesome. And he talked about Aiden Hutchinson. And this is the other part that makes him so darn good at his job. And she asked, hey, did you ever think Aiden Hutchinson, 3 picks would be on his rookie stat line? And he said, no, but he talked about one of the reasons they were so excited to get him is because of what he showed. There was one thing that happened one time. He did a simulated drop back into coverage during his pro day. Like he remembers that moment when he dropped back and he said he looked so athletic, he looked fluid, and it just showed them something that nobody else was showing him in that at that position, that he had the ability to do anything and that he had a skill set that was so vast and so wide that they could ask him to do anything. So no, he didn't think that he would get 3 interceptions, obviously, but he did know from the beginning, from a pro day workout, that most of us are like, is it really that important? You know, all of us get worried about the 40 time and the shuttle and the bench press and are they going to do everything? And Here it is. Brad Holmes is like, oh, yeah, they simulated a drop back in a drill once. And we knew at that moment he was going to be really good. And he had so many tools in his toolbox. And all we had to do was let him unleash it. So I thought that was really cool. And just a little talk about Brad Holmes, about his rookies, and something that I thought was awesome to watch. So just a little more insight. And this is what I love about this time of year. You get to hear from Brad Holmes. You get to hear from Dan Campbell, and we'll continue throwing out videos breaking down things that they said, the excitement that they have for this team going forward. And you'll be able to hear it all right here on Sports Talk Detroit. So hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss these videos. We're going to be breaking down draft prospects. We're going to be doing mock drafts. We're going to be reviewing mock drafts. We're going to be going legitimately into prospects that the Lions could be drafting, and we'll do our own scouting reports on them. And we'll talk about what is a good fit for this team, not only from a skill standpoint on the field, but also that personality that Brad Holmes talks about. Like, are you a football guy? Are you a Lion? And that word grit, it's all over the place. He was wearing a sweatshirt in the interview that I was watching that said grit. Dan Campbell's got the hat that says grit. And so when you're looking at guys they're going to draft, by the way, Penei Sewell, dude's got grit. Can we all agree to that? Malcolm Rodriguez, dude's got grit. Amon-Ra St. Brown, for a wide receiver, dude has some grit. James Houston and all he went through, grit. Kirby Joseph, that playmaking. Like, these are the things that we are also going to look for, and that's why it's such a fun time of year, because we can break all that down. And you will hear me say over and over, like, no, it's not up to us to determine if the personality is a fit. It's not up to us, but we're starting to get the outline of what Brad Holmes likes to see, and hopefully we'll get good at seeing it too. I think we're getting close. So Hutchinson, are you kidding me? Grit. Dude plays hard every snap. Can't take him off the field. I've never seen a defensive end play that many snaps in his rookie year. I mean, he looks so gassed in the beginning of the year, but it's because he plays hard and he has all those tools in the toolbox that Brad Holmes was talking about. Dude has grit, dude has skill. And when you combine those things, it is a very, very scary thing. And that's why this is a scary organization. All right, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you on the next one.